Shalom Israel, this is Yeshaya. I'm here with a sister by the name of Nayawana. She has a testimony in dealing with the situation with Zabak. Is the sister.
Yes. I had counsel over this situation because I was sad in one way and proud in another way. Proud of the righteous brothers who decided to call him on the carpet, and sad that he had to be called on the carpet. It was my receipts that was able to be used as proof that Zabak was taking the tithes money and effectively stealing the money, because he was using the money for his own personal uses instead of using the money for the congregation. He told the guys in council, as I understand it, that he had a conversation with me, and I told him that he could use the money as he sees fit. That was never my intent. I even said it at one of the gatherings that I felt that the money, the tithes, should be used so that it would accumulate and be there in the event that some of the brothers during camp were arrested. I said we should have money in our account so that the money could be used to get them out of jail. No one should have to stay in jail because we don't have the money. I don't know, that went over his head, I guess. He probably doesn't remember that because he doesn't want to remember it. A lot of other incidents that I think about in retrospect, that because I trusted him and because I didn't know the inner workings of the congregation, because I felt that the men knew and it was their business to take care of it. The council meeting and, the banking business and all of that. The banking business and the council and all of that, I felt like the brothers are the ones who should be taking care of that. And I'm proud of them for actually finally coming to the conclusion that he was doing things that were not correct and were not righteous. They used my receipts in the council to question him about the tithes. They had a collection of receipts from the time that I became a member of this congregation, and the receipts ranged from $400 to $130, I think was the lowest check. If I missed a month or a time giving my tithes, I would double it.
So these were money orders?
These were money orders. All of them were money orders. And when I asked him how I should address the money orders, first of all, I put House of Israel. I put at the bottom of every one of those money orders, I put the purpose of the money order, which was tithes. I put the date, the month, and the year. And I asked him how else I should address the money orders. And he said, put his name on it. So I put care of Zabak, of whatever his
government.
Yeah, I put his government name on there. But had I known that he could not be trusted, I would have added another name so that he couldn't just take the checks and cash them himself. He would have had to have another signature on it before he could cash it. So when he called me after the council, he said that he was calling me to let me know that he meant no harm, that he did no wrong, that I said to him, you know, these were righteous brothers that called you on the carpet. I said, he said to me, they came behind his back to get my money orders, receipts, and they didn't give him an honest chance to present and defend himself because he had receipts. And he could have produced the receipts had he known that they were going to get my proof. I said, well, why do you use the words that they're coming behind your back? Because I felt that he went behind their back to cash every check. When you spend the money of, I think it was something like 47 checks that showed on that I have receipts for, and there were a few occasions, maybe I think about 3 occasions where I gave him cash money because I hadn't gotten to the post office, and I felt like he had cheated by cashing every one of those checks. Not one check went through the account, the House of Israel account, out of 47 to 50 checks. No one knew, as people knew that I was giving him something, that I was giving him tithes on a regular basis, but nobody knew the amount of the tithes that I was turning in. No one had seen it. No one had any idea until I produced copies of every one of those money orders. And that shows that he was being dishonest about it. And when he made a trip to California at one point, I had given him tithes, and I had offered to have the service at my house. Well, I offered the service to be held at my house. And when it came time for the service, he said he was too busy to do anything about the service, that he left everything in Yawasab's hands and told Yawasab to help me. But I had paid my tithes to him, and not one Sabbath service came up where I didn't approach him and ask him, do you need anything? Is there anything that you need? So because I was not only willing to tithe, I was able to give him extra money for the lamb, because I knew the lamb was expensive. I wanted everybody to be able to have seconds if they wanted to. And I would give him, I bought a table, anything that I felt, if he said that anything was needed and they didn't have it, I provided the money for it, in addition to my tithe. So when he went to California, I had the service at my house. I had to buy everything. I told a couple of guys to bring like the ice or water or things like that, but the food, the napkins, the cups, the dishes, and all the tablecloths, the candles, and all. I mean, I felt like it was his place to come to me and say out of courtesy, if nothing else, Ellen, is there anything that you need? Because when he says to me, he told Yawasab, I never paid my tithes to Yawasab. I had gave him the box my tithes. So I felt like out of courtesy, if for no other reason. And when he came back from California, I was annoyed. I was pissed. So I waited until we got to the restaurant after Bible study, and I brought it up. He got loud. He got loud on me. It made me sound like I was telling him that I had invited everybody to my house, but I didn't want to feed anybody. I didn't want to do. I'm not selfish. I've never been selfish, especially with Israel. I give, and I give, and I give to Israel because that's where my heart is. So for him to get loud, you know, I shut up because he made me angry. And the old Brooklyn Ellen, I didn't want to come out, so I just kept quiet. But I was very annoyed at that, and I felt like he just took my tithes. I didn't feel that. I didn't know at the time that he had taken my tithes and gone to California and spent my money in California, but evidently, in hindsight, that's what he was doing. He was taking my tithes and doing what the hell he wanted to do with it. It's not his money. Tithes is not his money. I felt that someone had said to me that they didn't pay tithes because they didn't trust the people with their money. And when the statement was made to me, I feel like tithing is the law, just like all the other laws. So I didn't ask who they were speaking about, and no name was mentioned. So I just let it roll over my head because I feel like the scripture does say that you are supposed to be a good steward of your tithes. So because I didn't know that Tabak was doing anything wrong, I let it go. I let that statement go over my head, and I let the person that said it know that tithing is a law. And I assume that giving my tithes to Tabak, I was turning responsibility over to him. If he's taking tithes, then it's his responsibility to do what he's supposed to do with those tithes. I don't have to follow behind him. I don't have to question him, and I don't have to worry. I didn't even worry one bit because I knew that if he was not doing what he was supposed to do with those tithes, I knew that Yahweh Shai was going to take care of it. That he was going to be corrected by Yahweh Shai. So I didn't worry not one bit. I didn't hesitate not one bit. He says to me after that California incident, well, you don't have to pay the tithes. You know, if you feel like that, you don't have to pay the tithes this month. You know, just let it go. Wait a minute. Tithes is the Most High's law. It's not the box law. Right. So what I did was that for that month, I took the tithes and I sent it to one of the other congregations. I tithe, and I always tithe. And I'm not going to let Zabak cause me to not tithe, because that's not his law. And I felt like, you know, who is he to tell me that not to tithe? I sent tithes to one of the other congregations that I listen to on a regular basis. I get on a teleconference and I listen to them. I said, so that's where my tithe for that month is going to go. So that's how I dealt with that. But in retrospect, when I think of a lot of things that he did and said to me, that because I didn't know who he was and what he was doing, you know, leaves me to know that he wasn't at all correct. And I have said, and I've said it more than once, that the lies and the deceptions are known by the Most High. And he knows from the time that he has a thought in his mind that is not righteous. The Most High knows, and he can punish better than any one of us. So I knew that it was going to be taken care of, and it was going to be made right. And that's exactly what has happened. Because like I told Zabak, I said all of these brothers that called you on the carpet were the righteous brothers. I said they weren't jigaboos from the street. I said, so you just should have used, you know, lose some of that pride and just, you know, accept that you did wrong. He told me so many lies in that conversation. He called me at 12 o'clock at night, and we talked for an hour. When he realized that he was making me really angry, he said, well, he had another call, and he would call me back. Then he called me back at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he wanted to talk some more. So I said, you know, I had calmed down by that time. And so I said, well, you just really need to not take it for granted that because he said that the brothers had other issues with him. He used other issues. He wouldn't say what those other issues were. He just used the phrase other issues, and they used